Welcome to the latest project that we have here at Stealth from our factory. It's a concept which you have seen a lot on the internet previously. It's called a skiff. Basically, we've made one which we call our Uno skiff. Our target market is really it's a sort of kayak hybrid boat, sort of paddling outboard powered craft where you have the ability to be able to stand up and use an SUP paddle. You can sit down and use a normal kayak paddle if you want to, or you have the luxury of putting on an outboard up to 5 horsepower on here. So the craft itself is very, very versatile. Basically, we're trying to target the areas of estuaries, rivers, dams, lakes. You know, in South Africa, we get places like St. Francis in the canals. You get Nahoon River, you get the Keerbrums River in Plet. You know, the bay in Plet. This is where this product is really, really ideal for. If you run through a couple of the specs of the craft itself, firstly, the skiff is 4.27 meters long, or for those who want to know in feet, it's 14 foot long. So it's 14 foot long and 1.09 meters wide at its widest point, which makes it basically 3.5 feet wide. It's extremely stable. You know, the pontoons on the side, or the sponsons here, have a lot of buoyancy, so you can actually stand on the side of it and rock it, and it doesn't turn over. So it's a very, very stable craft. It has a wet deck. A wet deck means if a wave or the wind or the chop, whatever, laps over the front, it hits the deck, it just runs straight off the back. So there's no holding water or wallowing, anything like that on the craft. It's basically an open deck boat. The weight, which is very important, a naked, what we call naked or standard skiff, is 44 kilograms. Okay, so that's 44 kilograms on its own without the center box. So when I say a standard skiff is basically you have a handle in the front, you have this hatch, you have an open deck, so there's no box on here, right? You have obviously the outboard mount, the stainless steel rail at the back, the basic rod holders, some ropes, and obviously some Velcro to hold a paddle on the side. So that would be what we call a standard skiff. The extras would be a seat or a box with a central hatch. That's an extra. So you have the choice of having an open decked skiff if you want to stand and do a lot of fly fishing or doing a lot of bass fishing, and you want to stand and walk around the boat all the time. Obviously then you would leave that center box off completely. If you like to have somewhere to sit when you're driving your outboard, or to sit where maybe you're taking a friend with you or something, then obviously the seat comes in handy. The seat itself also has a hatch underneath, which we'll show you shortly, not very big, but it is an extra storage space. Okay. As far as safety, sort of in terms of the build of the craft goes, the craft itself is made very much the same way we make our high performance kayaks. So it's vacuum molded for lightweight. We use extremely good materials. We use high grade epoxy resin systems, all allowing us to make the craft very rigid and also very, very light. So it's very easily and manageable to put onto the roof of your car. You don't need to buy a trailer when you own a skiff. You know what you do is you just pick it up with a friend, put on the roof racks of your car, tie it on, off you go. Put the outboard in the back if you want to take the outboard. It's very easy to load and to transport around. So you don't have to go and buy yourself a trailer for this. You can use your Fender trailer and put on the roof of the Fender, or the top of a Fender trailer. You can put on the roof of your car if you've got just the open back of a Bucky, or like a Hilux or a Ranger. You can open the tailgate and put it in the back. So we've thought about all those options to make it easily to move around or transport, and I think that's another one of the great advantages of this. It's simple and easy to use. In the build of the kayak, all the structures underneath the floor, there's a lot of foam put into it. Foam obviously being safety for buoyancy. If somehow you had to put a hole in it, or you left the bungs out the back or something and you fill up the water, she can't sink. She's got more than enough flotation for you to sit on it, and it would fill up with water. Like any of the kayaks that we build now, or any of the boats that you see in the market, you have to have a minimum amount of buoyancy. This kayak has all the buoyancy and more if you had any problems. Okay, so first of all we have your front hatch here. Just a very simple, basic fiberglass lid into a hatch system here. This hatch has a drain plug which runs from here through to the direct deck, so if it fills up with water or whatever, you can literally open the bung and the water just flows out through the thing. The idea of this hatch is you can use it as storage, maybe put some ice and some cold beer in here, you know, put your bait in. If you are fishing, if you say you fly fishing or something like that, or you bass fishing, you can put your lure boxes in here. So there's a little bit of a storage space to put stuff. Obviously, naturally being a small craft, not very big, but it gives you the option to store. Then, as we discussed, we have the center hatch. Okay, so this is your seat, as mentioned. Right, nice comfy foam top, which is actually screwed on, so you can't take it off. It's not removable. Just two little straps here that hold it down. Stays nice and secure. Okay, move to the side, and as I said, this is a very shallow box and a very small hatch. As I say, only goes down to that sort of depth and runs to as far forward as that. And the reason why this is built like this is obviously that the whole floor system of this boat has a structure. So it has a structure system like a framework, and we've actually basically using the framework as part of the box. One of the reasons why we can't make it any bigger is because of the framework you're using. And secondly, by using the framework, it allows us to keep the weight of the boat, the skiff, down, because we're not adding more and more stuff all the time, adding weight. So every little thing, we tried to minimize the weight as much as we can and keep the skiff as light as possible, just by simple little designs and things. So like with anything, it's built in a way that makes sense to keep the flow or the weight down on our kayaks. Is the same way we've done the skiff. Everything we can do to keep it lightweight and manageable. There we go. Yeah, simple hatch system, and gets out of the way. In terms of storage for, let's say, a fish, if you were lucky enough to be fishing on the flats, let's say, or you're fishing offshore, targeting some fish and you need to do it, what we targeted is the ability to be able to add a bag onto the side of this where you'd put your fish into. So we wouldn't make this hatch bigger for like extremely big pelagics or game fish. We would basically supply you with the bag that you would use for your fish. So keeping the craft simple, but giving you options to be able to do other things. This is your transom mount. Okay, it's a fiberglass box made onto the boat. You mount your outboard onto it. Outboard runs from here. It's very, very simple. I mean, it's removable for transport. So if you're traveling long distances, or in our case, if we're shipping kayaks to people, we would remove this box. It keeps it flat and takes up less space. And when you get somewhere, you put the transom on, mount it, leave it on permanently, and then it's a place for you to mount your outboard. And that's it.